let's say you're the person who did horrific things, whether it's abuse or what have you. I don't know how you forgive yourself for those sorts of things. I mean, I can't. It's easy to say you should never forgive yourself. And I guess it depends on what spiritual paradigm. And there are consequences. Depending on what it is, you should obviously try to atone, make amends. That's a tough thing. But I think in general, we do believe that you need to forgive yourself, because if you're gonna try and help other people, you've got to find a way to do that. If you're going to live a productive life that benefits, if you're just filled with anger and rage of what you've done, the anger and rage will only tend to hurt more people. The cycle of damage and harm that you're doing to others, just to take it to the extreme, it'll keep going. Unless you can forgive yourself, which again, from a Christian perspective, God forgives us because, that's why he sent his son to the earth, so that we can be forgiven, from the least bad thing to the biggest. So it depends on your spiritual frame of reference. But either way, you've got to find a way to forgive yourself to be able to move on, have a productive life, have some degree of joy and fulfillment, and live a life of significance, a life on purpose dedicated to serving others. If you don't forgive yourself, you're not going to be able to help the world in any fashion or form. So that can be the highest mountain, the toughest hill to climb sometimes, to forgive yourself.
Indeed.
But if you care about others, like your family, your friends, other people, you've got to find a way. You've got to make a choice. It may not be easy. If you have any degree of self-awareness, it can be pretty tough. You can just want to perpetually beat yourself to a pulp. In my own way, which in me was more being young and foolish, I went through a lot of the 90s thinking, how stupid can I be? Why didn't I talk to family members? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Oh my gosh, how dumb can I? Why? Endless whys. You're not always going to get an answer to the whys. You've got to find a way to forgive yourself. If you care about the people around you, and if you care about using the pain that you've inflicted, in a sense, to help others.
And that, what you just described about forgiving yourself, I think operates on two axes. One is forgive yourself to yourself. And I think you had a lot of that to do after the takeover failed. And as you put it, you made bad decisions, and you had to sort of forgive yourself for ending the family control of the company and the loss of the heritage and those things. But there's also, as you alluded to quite a bit there, forgiving yourself of things that you have done to others. And I have some experience with this concept from Alcoholics Anonymous. I am, as we are having this conversation, 24 years sober. And one of the principles I learned first week in Alcoholics Anonymous, as one of the steps, of the 12-step program, one of the steps is to make amends for those you've wronged, make amends to those you've wronged. And the idea that was implanted in me by my sponsor, and the idea that that's in what they call the big book, the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, that helps people along that 12-step journey, is you're only responsible in that context for your side of the street. Yes, you ask for forgiveness. You apologize. You seek forgiveness for those wrongs that you've committed where you can seek forgiveness, where it's not going to make the situation worse, where the person's still around, where you can, you make those amends. But once you've done that, you're not responsible for how that's received. You have to then come to the place where you forgive yourself for what you've done. You've done what you can, you've cleaned your side of the street, and then you have to move on. I think that's one of the, part of forgiving yourself is being able to, is realizing that when you go to seek forgiveness from others, you may not get I have discovered 85% of the time when I do that, people are gracious, people are kind, people are loving, people are understanding. But there are some people where you don't get that. You have to be okay with that, knowing that you've done all you can to make it right. And that's where you have to be able to forgive yourself.
I think it's a profound point you make there, Gary. I mean, there's two sides of it is, I mean, if you've asked for forgiveness and you've done it genuinely from the heart, you've tried to make amends, do everything you feel that, should be done. If they don't forgive you, that's up to them. That's between them and their creator or however they look at life. You're not responsible. You're not responsible for that. But the other side of the coin is when things have been bad done to us, sometimes we feel led to confront that person and say, what you did to me was wrong. And you want them to apologize. You want them to ask you for forgiveness.
Right.
Very often, from my experience, that doesn't happen. Most people are not self-aware enough or not willing to own what they did or the blame to apologize. So you have to, I'm as appropriate, and you have to, whether it's counseling or seek the advice of family and friends, as appropriate as you feel led, by all means, confront the situation, again, if it's not a safety issue, and just say what you did was wrong and basically ask them to ask you for your forgiveness of them. That often doesn't happen. And you've got to live with that. You got to say, okay, I confronted the situation. I was hoping they'd apologize. They never did. I'm going to forgive them as an act of the will, even though they never said, I'm sorry.